Welcome to another session, and welcome also to a new series. I have titled and I have uh, addressed the theme of this new series as conquering and understanding depression. Let me start by explaining perhaps my objective over the next few sessions, but more importantly, my objective for the series. I'm aware of the fact that um, some years ago, and even months ago, I have addressed and I have spoken to uh, the whole concept of depression. I have come to my conclusions from my own experience. I've also come to be aware um, that this has become more of the norm and a phenomenon that most people, both male and female, are contending with. And so I have chosen and I have decided in good faith to address the whole idea, concept, definition, experience called depression. I would like to bring a different twist to what will be a series of conversation nonetheless. Um, when we talk about holistic healing, we try to focus on how we heal the whole person. And most, you might say, intellectuals, and most scholars, most people who have studied any form of healing will tell you that unless you heal the whole person, most of your labors, if focused on one aspect of the individual, could be in vain. And so, what I would like to do, and one of my objectives, is to deal with this process of understanding and contending with and conquering depression in a more holistic manner. Let me start by saying as follows. If you think about electricity as a form of energy, electricity just is. If you were to speak to the scientists, energy just is. With energy, with electricity, we can make a great meal for our loved ones. But also with electricity, it has been used to kill people, to terminate lives. Two different outcomes. One's simple but profound source of energy. In the same manner, um, our lives are a reflection of, I guess you might say, the, the beliefs we have about things. It's important for me to perhaps begin with a very important caveat as you listen to this series. Um, I don't know where my conversations will take me. I will share the opinions and ideas and insights and thought processes and my lived experiences as they come to me. None of them will be edited. It will come from my heart. It will be in good faith. It will come with an intention to help. Along the way, I will say things perhaps that you disagree with, things that perhaps irritate you, arouse and stir up an emotion in you that is perhaps not positive. Um, Nonetheless, I would ask you to do not reject the information outrightly. Think about it, come back to the information in a few weeks, months, days. The most important thing is that you find something that can help you or that can help someone you care about or someone you love. Many years ago, we used to talk about 6 degrees of separation. The whole concept was that between you and someone else, irrespective of where the person lived, and let's use a classical example. Let's say I am in London, England, and there is someone in, say, Belarus, um, and I want to get a message to that person, but I know of no intermediaries between myself and that person. But there are 6 people, 6 degrees of separation between myself and the end person, and that by knowing someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, we'll find the final person who knows the person I'm trying to get to. And these days, there's 1 degree of separation. So whether directly or indirectly, there are some people in our lives connected through friends and family and other, you might say, interests. And many people are struggling with depression, mental health issues, and more. And so, what I will do in the sessions that follow is I will give an idea of what I think is the holistic approach. Now, some people, and this is my philosophy, I believe there are three parts to our personality as human beings. I believe I am a spiritual being. I believe you are a spiritual being. You are a spirit. You do not have a spiritual experience. You are a spirit having a physical experience. You are a spiritual being. You live in a physical body, a dirt body, from dust to dust, and you've been given this intellect, this mind, which serves as a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Holistic healing, therefore, means you have to treat the whole person, spiritually, mentally, intellectually, and also physically. So some people at the bottom, working in the reverse, will see depression as a clinical picture, which is something I would subscribe to as well. It's not a diagnosis. We start with depression as a hypothesis, but it's a clinical picture. What we're trying to understand is the underlying cause. I'll deal with that on the physical side. Some people subscribe to the idea that it's all about energy delivery mechanisms. If you understand how the body functions, if you understand diet and nutrition and supplements, and if you understood ways of actually detoxing yourself, perhaps you can change your energy equation. Some people also believe that there are some people who suffer from a syndrome called tired all the time, which has to do with people we call ME, or people with chronic fatigue syndrome, which leads to depression. Pack that to one side. There are other people who also subscribe to the whole idea that it's a state of mind, that it's all about how you think and how you perceive life and your psychology and your physical state. And then there are those who think, perhaps, if I am a spiritual being, then my spirit is perfect, and perhaps my body might suffer, but I do not equate my spirit with my physical body. In any case, let me put that all to one side and say, as I bring today's session to a close, some time ago I said to someone, and I share this with you, in a conversation I had, I said, well, some people will not participate in their own rescue. That's the first statement. And the second statement is that you cannot escape from a prison except you acknowledge that you are in one. Now, if you juxtapose those two together, some people will not participate in their own rescue, and that's partly because some people do not believe that they are in a prison. So two men sit in a prison, one looks out and all he can see is a beautiful sunset, and he's delighted and he's ecstatic, this beauty. The other man looks out of the same window, and what he sees are the prison bars that are holding him back. I would expect you, as we go along, to come with the right attitude, the right mindset, and as we explore what will be a controversial, interesting, challenging, irritating sometimes, but hopefully not too much, conversation, a series of conversations. If there is someone suffering, and if it is you, my idea would be to say, well, help has come, but first you must acknowledge that you are in a prison, and secondly, you must participate in your rescue. It'll be difficult. I'll leave you with the following statement, that many a times what we find is that sometimes the story we tell ourselves limits us or empower us. To put it in a different way, which I use, that you were defined by the words you use, and whatever defines you, or whatever you define yourself by, also places limits on you. We will address depression from a place that is not self-limiting, but from a place where you release the energy and you realize that there's something greater in you than anything outside. That what lies within you is much greater than what lies behind you, around you, or in the future. I hope this introduction has been of some value.